Snow drifts down in slow, heavy flakes on New Year's Eve, each one catching the lamplight for a moment before it settles on the quiet street. The air is thick with cold, and a gentle wind moves through the town, brushing softly against everything it touches. Behind bright windows, warm rooms glow like honeycombs. Families gather close, their voices low and happy, firelight flickering across smiling faces. Children laugh as they hang paper stars, and the scent of pine and warm cake drifting out whenever a door opens for a moment. Out on the street, a small girl walks barefoot, her thin dress clinging to her like a pale petal. Snowflakes melt on her lashes. In her arms, she holds a wooden box of matches, still almost full. No one bought even one today. She tried all the busy corners, holding them up with trembling fingers, whispering to anyone who passed. Matches. Lovely matches. Only a penny. But the people hurried by, wrapped in fur and wool, their arms full of packages and parcels, their minds already inside the warm houses, waiting for them. When the sky grew dark and the box was still heavy, she knew she could not go home. Earlier that day, her father's voice had thundered through the cold room. Not a single coin again? Useless child. His hand had risen, quick and hard, and the sting of it still lingered on her cheek. The house she came from had no fire, no bread, only shadows and shouting. So she walks on, small feet leaving faint prints that the snow covers almost at once. The streets empty little by little. Bells ring far away, soft and slow, welcoming the new year. The girl finds a corner where two tall houses lean together, making a quiet nook away from the wind. She slides down the wall until she's sitting, knees tucked under her chin, the matchbox resting in her lap. Frost glimmers on her eyelashes. Her breath comes in tiny clouds that vanish quickly. Inside the nearest house, a window glows brighter than the rest. Through the glass, she can see a little girl in a red dress pressing her face to the pane, watching the snow. For a moment, their eyes meet. The girl inside tilts her head, curious, then calls softly over her shoulder, "Papa, there's a child outside, all alone." The man's voice answers, warm and low. "Probably waiting for someone, darling. Come away from the window now, it's cold." The curtain falls back into place, and the golden square of light is hidden again. The little match girl hugs her knees tighter. The cold has crept all the way into her bones now, gentle but heavy, like a thick quilt that wants to pull her down into sleep. She opens the wooden box. The matches lie in neat rows, their heads tiny drops of scarlet. With numb fingers, she lifts one out. For a moment, she only holds it, afraid and hopeful at once. Then very softly, she whispers to the night, Just to warm my hands a little." She strikes the match against the wall. A quiet hiss, and a circle of golden light blooms in the dark, small and brave and perfect. Warmth, true warmth, touches her fingertips for the first time all day. She cups the flame close, eyes wide, and in its gentle glow, a vision appears. The little flame trembles between her fingers, steady and kind. A tiny heart beating just for her. In its soft circle of light, a kitchen unfolds. Wide and low-ceilinged, glowing like the inside of a lantern left burning for someone coming home late. The walls are the color of warm cream, and every corner is rounded by years of gentle living. A great iron stove waits in the corner, its door open like a smile, flames curling lazily over applewood logs that crackle without anger. Only a soft, contented murmur, the way fires speak when they are happy. Copper pots hang along the wall, catching the firelight and giving it back in rosy coins across the ceiling. A loaf of bread rests on the wooden table, its crust still singing from the oven, steam curling up in slow ribbons that smell of wheat and yeast and something faintly sweet. Beside it, a small bowl of cinnamon sits open, releasing its warmth into the air like a quiet song. The scent drifts to her, wraps around her, and for the first time all day, her shoulders loosen, as though someone has lifted an invisible weight. The warmth from the stove reaches out, gentle as a mother's palms, cupping her small, cracked hands. It smooths the raw places, softens the sting of the cold, travels up her thin wrists and arms until it settles in her chest like a cat curling into a basket. The ache in every finger eases. The sting fades into a memory she no longer has to carry. She feels her breath grow slower, deeper, as though the kitchen itself is breathing with her. Steady and sure. She leans closer, drawn by the light and the scent and the impossible kindness of it all. Her shadow falls long and soft across the worn brick floor. And for one long, quiet moment, she is truly inside that kitchen. The firelight paints gold across her cheeks. She is safe here. She is safe. She is wanted. She is warm. A small sigh slips from her lips, almost a smile. The first one all day. Fragile and perfect. She closes her eyes just long enough to let the feeling settle all the way down to her toes. When she opens them again, the flames in the stove seem to nod at her, as if to say, "Yes, little one. Stay as long as you need." Then the match burns down. The flame kisses her fingers and goes out. The kitchen fades like mist in morning sun. The cold rushes back, softer than before, yet heavier. She sits very still, holding the blackened stick, feeling the memory of warmth linger on her skin like a promise that was almost kept. Snow keeps falling, silent and patient. After a while, her hands begin to shake again. She opens the box once more. Another match slides between her fingers as though it has been waiting. She strikes it. A new glow blossoms, brighter this time, tender and golden, as though the match itself has decided to be brave for her. The dark corner where she sits melts softly away, and suddenly she is standing at the edge of a grand dining room that seems to stretch forever under a ceiling painted with quiet stars. A long table waits in the center, draped in white linen so fine it gleams like fresh snow touched by early sun. Silver glints along its length, and every plate and glass catches the candlelight and holds it gently, like cupped hands holding water. In the very middle of the table rests a roast goose, its skin crisp and shining, the color of autumn leaves after rain. Steam rises from it in slow, fragrant curls, carrying the scent of rosemary and orange, and something faintly sweet. The smell drifts to her on a warm current of air, and her mouth waters so suddenly that her eyes sting. Beside the goose, a woven basket overflows with rolls still warm from the oven, their tops brushed golden and split just enough to show the soft white within. Apples, red as holly berries, green as new leaves, sit in a wooden bowl, polished until they shine. A tall jug of cream stands nearby, so thick the silver spoon leans lazily against its side without falling. Candles in tall silver holders flicker along the table, their flames steady and low, painting soft halos on the faces gathered around. The people there wear gentle colors, deep blues and quiet reds, and their eyes are kind. They speak in murmurs, passing dishes, brushing crumbs from one another's sleeves with small, familiar laughs. The laughter is low and warm, the kind that folds around an empty place at the table and says, "Without words, there is room for you." At the far end, an older woman with silver in her hair lifts her glass. The crystal catches the light and scatters tiny rainbows across the linen. She looks straight at the little girl, eyes soft as candle glow, and smiles the way grandmothers do when the door opens. "Come sit with us, little one," she says, voice gentle as falling snow. There is plenty, and the chair beside me has been waiting. The girl's heart lifts like a bird startled into flight. She takes one small step forward, then another, reaching out with fingers that no longer feel the cold. But the match gutters, the flame bends low, kisses the wood, and sighs into darkness. The table, the goose, the shining apples, the circle of kind faces all melt away like breath on glass. The scent of rosemary and warm bread lingers for one heartbeat longer, curling around her like a scarf, then slips away. She's small against the wall again, the taste of emptiness sharp on her tongue, the night deeper than before. Snow hushes over the street, soft and endless. Far away, church bells ring once, twice, then fall silent, as though even they are tucking themselves in for the new year. Her breath trembles out in a tiny cloud. Tears gather, cool on her lashes, freezing before they can fall. Yet somewhere beneath the ache, the memory of that table glows quietly. A small coal cupped inside her ribs, keeping the deepest dark from closing all the way. She looks down at the little wooden box resting in her lap. The matches lie in their neat rows like sleeping birds, heads tucked under scarlet wings, quiet and trusting. There are still so many, enough perhaps, for 100 more dreams. The thought makes her chest ache with something between sorrow and wonder. With careful fingers, fingers that hardly feel like her own anymore, she lifts a third match. It is lighter than a feather, yet it carries all the weight of her hope. She strikes it. The flame rises slowly this time, swelling outward and upward in a soft, golden breath until it is taller than she is, wider than her outstretched arms. And in that gentle bloom of light, a Christmas appears. A tree rises before her, magnificent yet tender, its branches sweeping low like the arms of someone who has been waiting a very long time. Hundreds of tiny candles nestle among the dark needles, each flame perfectly still, burning without smoke or hurry, as though time itself has agreed to pause. Golden stars and delicate sugar hearts catch the candlelight and scatter it in slow, drifting sparks. The scent of pine drifts down, cool and sweet, carrying memories of forests she's never seen yet somehow knows by heart. Was by. Beneath the tree, gifts lie in quiet piles, boxes wrapped in paper the color of dawn, ribbons curling like sleepy cats. One package sits a little apart from the others, smaller, wrapped in pale blue tied with silver thread. A tag dangles from the bough, swaying gently though there is no wind. She leans forward, breath held, and the letters on the tag shimmer into view, written in handwriting that feels like a lullaby's. Her own name, glowing softly as frost under moonlight. Her heart gives a single, wondering beat, so loud in the silence, she is certain the whole street must hear it. At the very top of the tree, a silver star turns slowly, sending specks of light across her upturned face, like gentle snow made of warmth. The great tree seems to breathe with her, rising and falling in the same quiet rhythm. Needles whispering, "It is all right, little one. You are here. You are seen." She stretches one trembling hand toward the small blue gift, fingers brushing the edge of the ribbon, almost touching the paper that holds her name. The match burns low, the flame folds in on itself with a tender sigh, and is gone. The tree, the candles, the gifts, the silver star, all drift away like mist at sunrise. Only the faint scent of pine remains, cool and sweet, clinging to her hair, her lashes, her heart. She sits in the hush that follows, eyes wide, cheeks wet with tears that fall warm for a moment before the night cools them. The cold presses closer now, patient and thorough, curling around her shoulders like a blanket too heavy to lift, whispering that it is time to rest forever. Yet something inside her, small, stubborn, bright as the star that just turned for her alone, refuses to let go completely. With fingers that shake like the last leaves of autumn, she lifts a fourth match from the box. She strikes it. The fourth match flares, soft as a held breath. A tender sigh of light that pushes the darkness back the way dawn lifts the edge of a heavy curtain. And there, in that small, perfect circle of gold, her grandmother stands, not the thin, tired figure the girl last saw slipping away in a cold bed, but the grandmother of earlier, gentler winters, when the world still felt safe. Her silver hair falls in loose and shining, catching the match flame like moonlit water. A soft shawl the color of a quiet morning sky rests across her shoulders, and her hands, once busy with knitting and bread making, are open now. Palms turn gently upward, as though the whole night has become a wide cradle waiting only for one small child. Her eyes are the same summer river blue the girl has carried inside her heart like a secret treasure. And her smile, oh, her smile, is the same one that used to smooth away every nightmare with a kiss that smelled faintly of lavender and warm bread. The little girl's lips tremble. A sob, small and wondering, slips out, hardly more than a breath. "Grandmother," she whispers, the word no louder than a snowflake touching the ground. Please don't disappear again. Please don't leave me alone." Her grandmother's smile deepens, slow and warm, the kind of smile that holds whole summers inside it. She takes one step closer, though her feet make no print in the snow, and the glow of the tiny match widens just enough to wrap them both in its quiet blanket. The air between them feels softer than wool, warmer than any hearth the girl has ever known. "My sweet, brave darling," the grandmother murmurs, voice low and steady as a lullaby rocking on water. "I have never truly left you. I live here." A gentle hand lifts and rests, featherlight, over the child's heart. And here, in every kind, thought the world still has to give. Hope has not forgotten you, little star. Be patient just a little longer. Light is already on its way. I promise you, light is coming. For one long, endless moment, the girl feels the lavender scent drift around her, feels the soft shawl brush her cheek, feels the arms she has dreamed of every cold night, waiting open and ready. Tears rise, warm and unafraid, sliding down her frost-touched face like small rivers finding their way home. She leans forward, wanting only to step into that embrace and never leave. But the match flame bends, kisses her fingers with the gentlest goodbye, and folds itself into darkness. The beloved figure fades, yet the warmth of those words, the certainty of that promise, stays cupped inside the girl's chest like a tiny lantern no wind can ever blow out. The girl reaches out with both small hands, fingers trembling like the last leaves of autumn, wanting only to fall forward into those waiting arms, to bury her face in the lavender-scented shawl and let the hush of that beloved voice fold around her forever. For one heartbeat, one impossible, perfect heartbeat, she almost feels the soft wool brush her cheek, almost feels gentle fingers smooth the tangled curls away from her forehead, almost hears the quiet murmur of an old lullaby against her ear. But the match flame bends low, a tiny candle bowing at the end of its song. It flickers once, twice, then shrinks into itself with a final tender sigh, becoming nothing more than a curl of ash that drifts down like gray snow. Grandmother's loving face, still smiling, softens and fades until only the glow of her promise remains, warm and steady, resting over the girl's heart like a hand that will never lift away. Now the cold returns, deeper and kinder than ever before. It is no longer sharp. It is only heavy, a thick quilt of stillness settling over her shoulders, her chest, her thoughts. Her small body begins to feel far away, as though it belongs to a doll someone has gently set down and left in the corner. Her legs no longer ache. They have simply drifted off to sleep without her. Her eyelids grow slow and sweet, wanting to close the way velvet curtains close at the end of a long, peaceful evening. She leans her head against the wall. Snow settles on her lashes, light as downy feathers, cool kisses that ask for nothing. The wooden box slips from her lap and tips sideways, spilling the last matches in a soft scarlet fan across the white ground. Tiny, sleeping embers that will never wake again. Along the street, footsteps still pass, muffled and hurried. Coats swish, laughter rises and falls like distant music. A woman in a green cloak pauses, scarf fluttering at her throat. She looks toward the quiet corner, brow creasing with something almost like recognition. Her husband touches her elbow gently and murmurs, "Come, my love, it's late. The children are waiting." And the moment passes. Boots crunch away, voices fade into the soft folds of the night. Church bells rings once more far away. Slower now, almost like a lullaby rocking the whole town to sleep. The girl's fingers, pale and perfect as porcelain in moonlight, move without her telling them to. They drift through the snow and close around the very last match. She does not know why she lifts it, only that the tiny flame inside her, the one her grandmother just touched, asks for one more note of light before the long quiet. She strikes it against the wall. The sound is small, yet in the hush of the falling snow it rings clear and true. A single note of pure gold. The flame rises, steady and brave, brighter than any match before it, as though all the warmth of the earlier visions is gathered into this one last gift. It lights her small face from below, turning frost to fleeting diamonds on her lashes, painting soft roses on cheeks that had forgotten color. In that gentle glow, she looks almost like an angel carved from moonlight and left to guard the street, very softly. So softly only the snow and the stars can hear. She breathes, "If someone, anyone, can hear me, please, save me." The little flame burns, true and quiet, refusing to waver, holding the darkness back with all its might, holding her on the quiet edge of a sleep that would never wake. And somewhere, in the tall house just across the street, a child in a red velvet dress presses her nose to the cold window once more. She sees that tiny star of light blooming in the corner, steady, refusing to die, dancing like a heartbeat. Her eyes grow wide. "Papa," she calls, voice small and trembling with wonder. "Papa, come quickly. There's a light out there, a little girl. She's still trying. She's still holding on." Footsteps hurry across the snow, quick yet careful, as though the night itself is fragile. A tall man in a dark coat appears at the corner, his breath clouding in soft puffs. Behind him comes a little girl clutching his hand, her red dress bright even in the dim street lamps. The father's eyes find the tiny flame first, then the small shape curled beneath it. He stops for only a heartbeat. Then he is kneeling, coat spreading over the snow like wings. "My goodness," he whispers, voice low and shaken, yet gentle as falling wool. "How can a child be left out here in such cold?" The flame in the girl's fingers gutters, trembles, and finally slips away. Darkness folds in, but before it can settle, strong arms lift her. Warm, steady arms that smell faintly of pine and candle smoke. A thick coat wraps around her shoulders. She feels herself pressed against a heartbeat that is fast yet sure. "Elise," the man calls softly over his shoulder. "Run ahead. Tell your mother to warm blankets and water. Quickly now, darling." Small boots patter away, faster than snowflakes. The world rocks gently as the father carries her across the street. Snowflakes melt on her cheeks, but they are warm now, warmed by the heat rising from the arms that hold her. She hears a door open, feels a rush of cinnamon-scented air, hears a woman's quiet cry of surprise and tenderness. "Bring her here, Henrik, by the fire, quickly." Soft hands take her from the father's arms. A wide hearth glows before her, flames dancing in welcome. Blankets, thick, downy, smelling of lavender and sunlight, fold around her like clouds. Someone lifts her feet into a basin of water that is almost too warm, yet perfect. Gentle fingers rub life back into her toes, her hands. A girl's face appears close to hers, the child in the red dress, eyes wide and shining. "You're safe now," the girl whispers, taking the match girl's cold hand between her own small, warm ones. "Don't be afraid. Don't go to sleep yet. Stay with us. Please stay." The match girl tries to answer, but her voice is only the faintest breath. Tears slip down her temples, warm ones this time, melting the last of the frost in her lashes. Her lips move. "Grandmother said light would come." The mother, kneeling beside her, brushes damp curls from the child's forehead. "And it has," she murmurs, voice trembling with kindness. "It has come, little one. You are home now." Warmth seeps deeper, slow and patient. The great fireplace crackles like an old friend telling stories. Hands keep moving, rubbing, wrapping, soothing, until the terrible heaviness in her limbs begins to lift. Her heart, which had slowed to almost nothing, flutters, then steadies, then finds a new rhythm. Stronger, surer. She draws a breath that tastes of wood smoke and hot chocolate and safety. The little girl in the red dress, her name is Elise, leans close again and presses something soft into the match girl's hand. A small rag doll with button eyes and a smile stitched in red thread. "For you," Elise whispers, "so you'll never be alone again." The match girl's fingers close around the doll. A tear slips free, but this one carries no cold at all. Outside, the snow keeps falling, gentle and forgiving, covering the scattered matches, the empty corner, the long night that is finally over. Inside, the fire glows brighter, and the house breathes with quiet voices and the soft rustle of blankets and the slow, steady returning of life. The match girl's eyes flutter closed, not in surrender now, but in trust. She is held. She is warm. She is seen. And for the first time in longer than she can remember, she sleeps in arms that will never let her go. Morning comes softly, like someone opening curtains a little at a time so the light does not startle the sleeper. The match girl wakes beneath a quilt so thick and warm, it feels like being tucked inside a cloud. Sunlight, pale and New Year golden, slips through lace at the window and rests in quiet patches across the bed. For a moment, she does not move. She only breathes, slow and wondering, letting the warmth of the sheets and the faint scent of toast drifting up the stairs tell her the night is truly over. A small sound makes her turn her head. Elise sits on a little stool beside the bed, elbows on knees, chin in hands, watching with the patient stillness only children can manage. "You're awake," Elise whispers, as though speaking too loudly might break the spell. A smile spreads across her face, bright and careful. "Mama said to bring you warm milk with honey." The door opens gently. The mother enters carrying a tray, a cup steaming softly, 2 thick slices of bread spread with butter and strawberry jam, a tiny vase holding 1 white snowdrop. She sets it on the bedside table, then sits on the edge of the mattress and rests a cool hand on the girl's forehead. "No fever," she says, relief softening every word. "How do you feel, little one?" The match girl tries her voice. It comes out small and rusty, but it comes. "Warm," she says, and the single word feels like a miracle. The mother's given the milk first, held in hands that do not shake anymore. The honey is sweet on her tongue, the milk gentle. When she finishes, the mother helps her sit against pillows as soft as doves. Elise climbs up beside her, careful not to jostle the tray, and offers the rag doll from last night. "She kept you company while you slept," Elise says. "I told her your name is going to be Anna now. Is that all right?" Anna, the name settles over her like a new dress, clean and just the right size. She nods, eyes suddenly full. Days drift by in a quiet, healing rhythm. There is warm water every morning, scented with rose petals. There are new wool stockings that reach her knees, and a blue dress with tiny embroidered stars along the hem. There are bowls of porridge with cream and brown sugar, apples sliced so thin the light shines through them, cups of cocoa thick enough to leave mustaches she and Elise giggle over. The father, Henrik, goes to the authorities with gentle firmness. He returns one afternoon, snow melting on his coat, and kneels by Anna's chair. "The house you lived in before," he says quietly, "it is not a safe place for any child. The people there will not trouble you again. If it is what you wish, you may stay here with us always." Anna looks from his kind eyes to the mother's waiting smile, to Elise's hopeful face. Words feel too small. So she simply slips from the chair and folds herself into Henrik's arms. He holds her as though she is made of the thinnest glass and the strongest light at the same time. Spring arrives before anyone expects it. Anna learns to read beside Elise at the wide kitchen table. She learns the names of flowers in the garden. Snowdrops give way to crocuses, then to lilacs that smell like remembrance. She learns that laughter can live inside a house without fear hiding in the corners. One evening near the end of the year, the family gathers in the parlor. The tree is smaller than the one in her vision, but its candles are just as steady, its scent just as sweet. Gifts lie beneath in quiet piles. Elise leads Anna by the hand to a single package wrapped in pale blue paper tied with silver ribbon. Anna's breath catches. It is the very parcel she almost touched that night in the snow. She opens it slowly. Inside is a new box of matches. Not for selling, not for survival, but for lighting birthday candles and hearth fires and quiet evenings when stories are told. On the lid, in careful painted letters, someone has written, "For Anna, who brought her own light into our home." That night, she falls asleep in her own small room. Window cracked so she can hear the wind move gently through the lilac bushes. The rag doll rests on the pillow beside her. Downstairs, the grown-ups speak in low, happy voices. The house breathes around her, warm and awake and watching over her dreams. Outside, snow begins to fall again, soft and forgiving, covering the city in a new white page. Inside, Anna smiles in her sleep. She is no longer the little match girl. She is simply, and forever, home. Many winters come and go, soft as feathers, bright as candles. Anna grows taller. Her hair, once dull with cold and hunger, turns the color of warm chestnuts and is forever escaping its ribbons. Her cheeks keep a gentle rose even in January. And her hands, once cracked and trembling, learn to play piano scales that drift through the house like birds learning to fly. Yet every New Year's Eve, the family keeps one quiet tradition. After supper, when the dishes are washed and the younger children are tucked in, the four of them gather in the small parlor, where the fire is always allowed to burn low and steady. Henrik banks the logs until the flames glow like embers in a heart. Elise, no longer small, brings the blue-wrapped box of matches from its place on the mantel. The mother lights a single candle on the windowsill, the one that faces the street. And Anna, wrapped in the same soft shawl her grandmother once wore in a dream, chooses one match. She strikes it. The tiny flame rises, familiar and brave. For a moment, they all grow quiet, watching the light tremble between her fingers the same way it trembled that night, long ago. No one speaks of fear or cold. They only watch the small circle of gold, and in it each of them sees something different, something gentle. A kitchen stove, a holiday goose, a Christmas tree, open arms. When the match burns low, Anna lets it fall into the hearth, where it becomes part of the greater fire that has never once gone out in this house. Then Henrik lifts his glass of mulled wine, and the others lift warm milk or cider. And he says the same words every year, voice low, steady, full of wonder that has never faded. To the night, a single flame was brave enough to ask for help, and to the kindness that answered. They drink. The candle on the windowsill keeps burning, a quiet beacon for any traveler, any child, any weary heart that might still be walking through the snow. Later, when the house is dark and the snow has covered every old footprint, Anna stands at her bedroom window. She's almost grown now, but she still presses her hand to the glass the way Elise once did. Outside, the street lies white and sleeping. Inside, the rooms below breathe with love, with piano music, with the soft turning of book pages and the creak of rocking chairs. She thinks of a little girl who once sat in a corner with nothing but matches and a stubborn spark of hope. She thinks of a grandmother who promised light would come. She thinks of a child in a red dress who refused to look away. And Anna smiles, small and steady, the same smile that lives in every corner of this house now. Downstairs, the candle still glows on the sill, gentle, unafraid. Upstairs, Anna whispers into the quiet dark the words she has never stopped believing. Thank you for seeing us. Thank you for stopping. Thank you for bringing me home. Then she closes the curtains, climbs into her warm bed, and lets the soft breathing of the house rock her to sleep. Outside, snow falls and falls, covering the world in forgiveness. Inside, one small light keeps burning, passed gently from heart to heart, year after gentle year. And the little match girl who was never lost again dreams only of warmth, of open doors, and of the quiet, endless miracle that kindness, once offered, can light a whole lifetime. Good night. Sleep softly. You are safe. You are seen. You are endlessly, perfectly loved.